Thank you for coming to this session. We are very proud of giving this session. We already gave in Brussels for Drupal for Go, and we will be talking about what we did over the course of 8 years with the French Ecological Ministry, which we will call the MTE for the course of this session. To briefly know what we will be talking about, we will introduce ourselves and give you a context about all this MTE stuff. And then what we will review in details, very small details, what we did over 8 years with Drupal, and give you a short conclusion, some key takeaways. So I let maybe Audrey introduce ourselves.
Hello, I'm Orejime Register. I've been working with Drupal for more than 15 years, mostly for the public sector. Since 2018, I've been leading large-scale Drupal projects for the French Ministry of Ecological Transition. Sorry for my English. My focus is really on accessibility, quality, sustainability, and open source and public digital services. I joined ECD in 2010, and this is where I've been working ever since, and in a Control A group. So before going further, let me briefly, but very briefly, introduce the company. ECD is a French digital agency founded in 2001 to support public interest organizations and public institutions. We are in Grenoble, Paris, and Nantes.
So I'm Sylvain. I'm the CSO of Control A Group, which is the main group for ECD. I have an entrepreneurship background. I founded my company in 2001, sold Access, High Access, and in 2018. And I've been working on many positions like Dev, PM, and then Sales, and then Chief of Sales. And the projects I've worked on are very big projects in media like Radio France, UNESCO, and also in museum field. As for my Drupal background, I've been doing Drupal since 2006. For those who can remember that time, I've been translating a lot Drupal in French, and also I was, because I'm not doing this anymore, a Drupal module maintainer, co-maintainer, especially in the Scald suite. Anybody here knows Scald? Yeah! And I've been speaking at DrupalCons and camps since then. Today I represent Control A, which is a company of a group of companies. We have 7 subsidiaries, 125 people working in the field of Drupal, but also accessibility and digital sustainability. We are located in Paris, Grenoble, and Nantes, and we are 100% OPQA certified, except for financial stuff and support team. And now I will. Now we also have many public customers like ministries, agencies. We also work in the NGO field, many NGOs, foundations, associations, and we like to work with the cultural sector. So let's talk about the context first of all. What is the MTE? It's the Ministry of Ecological Transition. It was created in 2017 with the election of President Emmanuel Macron, for sure.
Il l'a fait. Il l'a fait.
Before that, it was the Ministry of Environment, of Ecology, but the transition name was introduced to reflect action and transformation. It was, because it's not anymore a state ministry, which means it's a governmental priority, and it used to have a large budget when it was a state ministry, and it's also a meta-ministry because there are many sub-ministries included. You can see on the right side, it has undergone many name changes since then because it had many sub-ministries that gone and left. How the journey started? It's very simple. It was hard but simple. Like every public project in France, it's a public RFP. But because it was very large, we could not go alone, so we decided to make a group of companies, some friends, and we were the chief of this group of companies, which is called Mandataire in France. And then at that time, we only spoke with DICOM, Direction of Communication, and it has changed because as the project grew, we had many people involved, including IT. And then 4 years after, which is the regular direction for public RFP, we won again the market with some different actors. Audrey?
Our scope of this contract was not just about building websites. It covered the full digital landscape, platforms, participatory tools, hosting, accessibility, sustainability, and governance. Basically everything from strategy to operations at ministerial scale. Here you have just a few examples of the website we delivered. Very different topics, very different audiences, but the same level of public sector constraints: accessibility, security, performance, and sustainability. Strategic challenges. So Drupal was not the main challenge in this project. The real challenge was organizational, governance, coordination, and scale. But Drupal was part of the solution, like we talked about this morning with Alex. It allowed us to address very different needs: public information sites, internal tools, participatory platforms, while keeping a common technical foundation. Drupal gave us the flexibility to scale, adapt, and meet the diverse needs of the ministry.
We summarized in 4 main technical challenges. First one being, for that kind of project, scalability and industrialization with multi-site and industrialization of deployment processes. Then the challenges were also the public sector ones, the requirements, which, like Audrey said, were accessibility, sustainability, GDPR, but also civic engagement, because it's some particular topic about working with ministries. You have to talk also to citizens. There were also integration with many public ecosystems, APIs, like French SSO, which is called France Connect in France, like data and open data consumption from data.gouv.fr, and also map visualization, being Google Maps, but also IGN, which is the French national provider for maps and which we use on many sites. And all the technical challenges that everyone knows, like standards, performance, and operations, but we will talk about that later. So now let's dive in on what we did for 8 years with the ministry to build a strong guidelines. We had to decide what they would be. So we came up with 4 main guidelines. First one being scalability and industrialization. Sorry, I'm not on the right slide. But first one being setting up a strong governance, because when you work with many parties, you have to be clear. So we built all that stuff, all that comitology stuff. And then another challenge was to manage the diversity of people involved, because we have to talk with IT, with communication, but also with civic engagement, and build trust. Trust with us, but also trust between them, because at first they were not used to talk with each other. So we decided to give them the same framework, the same language, being able to talk about web, and that was UpQuest. If you don't know this referential, it's a good one in France. And we also chose a simple and clear methodology, project management, which is waterfall lead cycle, to reduce risk. Then we will need to be able to scale, so we talked about industrialization and standardization. And being an open source company, common good company, we always kept in mind, and we said to the customer, we want to be open source first. That means including many open source components as much as we can, and also contribute back as much as we can when we want to build something. I
will talk about accessibility. I first give you some context on accessibility and then share how we addressed it in practice. You know that accessibility is a legal requirement in France for public digital services and some private services. At the MTE level, it's a structured multi-year strategy with strong governance and training across teams. Our main objective was to make accessibility operational, not theoretical. In a ministerial context, you have dozens, sometimes hundreds of content contributors. So accessibility cannot rely only on audits or experts. It has to be embedded directly into the tools. With Drupal, we configured the back office to guide contributors toward accessible content by default, structured content type, mandatory fields, and clear heading hierarchies that prevent common accessibility errors. On the technical side, we paid a lot of attention to semantic HTML. Pages are built with a clear structure that works for screen readers, keyboard navigation, and assistive technologies. We also equipped development teams with an internal accessibility checklist. So accessibility becomes part of the standard development workflow, not a last-minute fix. We hope so. Finally, we invested heavily in training, both internally at ECD and with MTE teams to build a shared culture of accessibility. The key point is that accessibility is not something you check at the end. It's something you design, develop, and maintain over time. Now I'm going to talk about design system, starting with the context and then what we actually did. Before 2018, there was no shared design system for French public websites. So the French design system changed that in 2023. It's mandatory. The real challenge was how do we industrialize this inside an open source CMS like Drupal? So our goal was not just to apply the French design system, but to make it operational at scale within an open source CMS like Drupal. Concretely, we worked on industrializing this French design system by building a reusable Drupal starter kit based on the UI suite in order to standardize components and speed up deployment across multiple websites. A key point was the work on HTML semantics and accessibility. And the French design system out of the box is not always fully accessible, so it was the main problem. We fixed semantic issues, improved component structure, and reinforced WCAG compliance. And finally, we followed an open source by design approach, mutualizing, documenting, and contributing our work so it can be reused by other projects and administration.
So to make a short focus on GDPR compliance and privacy, the easiest path was that we use Drupal, and you all know that Drupal is a privacy-first CMS. So for core developments and form implementation, it was really easy to be compliant with the GDPR. But really quick, we had to answer the question, what would be the cookie management system, being the banner or being the CMP, consent management platform. In the DSFR, at first, the chosen system was Tarteaucitron, which is a good one, but it's not open source. It's French, but it's not open source, it's proprietary. And also the CNIL, which is the French Data Protection Authority, demands that we store every consentment in the CMP. So we had to address these two challenges. We came up with the answer of Orejime, which is a cookie banner solution, which is French, which is open source, and which also at that time had a really good Drupal module. So we chose it and we implemented it on every website. And then we had to choose a CMP, and at that time there were no open source CMP or no good open source CMP. So we decided to build a simple one on top of Orejime. The module you can use is called Orejime Register, and it stores every acceptance of cookie from the user in the Drupal database in a very simple way. So it's really usable and not complicated, and you don't have to take a proprietary solution. And as a bonus, we moved everything from Google Analytics to Matomo, which is also an open source solution. And I will be very quick about DevOps and also deployment implementation. The main thing is that at the start of the project, there was no CI, no CD, only internal hosting, and no deployment processes. So we work on the 3 stages. First of all, being deployment, setting up a modern CI/CD with all the tools that you can see beneath. We also work on security of the code with some automated testing tools, and also strict policy for updating cores and country modules and dependencies within the CI/CD. And last one will be the performance, monitor but also improve performance over years with all those tools. But I think Audrey will talk about it in the course of eco design and performance.
I would like to talk about talks, or dialogon in France. It's not just another platform we built during this contract. It's a participatory platform designed for public consultations and civic engagement. It combines 2 essential dimensions: informing citizens and collecting their contributions in a structured and transparent way. From a functional perspective, it supports multiple participation formats, online debates, surveys, interactive maps, and more. This allows public institutions to adapt the platform to very different consultation contexts and audiences. From a technical perspective, Dialogon is fully built on Drupal, designed to meet public sector constraints, and it also integrates naturally with the French design system and with accessibility requirements. So participation is inclusive by default. It was very important for us. Over the duration of the contract, we deployed more than 20 Dialogons platforms used for national or local public consultations. The key message here is that Drupal is not just a CMS for publishing content. It can also be a strong foundation for democratic and participatory digital services. Now I'd like to talk about digital sustainability and how this topic progressively became a key part of the project. At the beginning, on the contract, digital sustainability was not a priority. Like in many large digital projects, the focus was mainly on delivery, accessibility, and compliance. And things really changed around 2021 when the RGESN was introduced. The MTE gave us its trust to go further and to transform their website ecology.gov.fr into a reference public website in terms of digital sustainability. This marked an important shift. We started by measuring audit and environmental impact analysis. In 2022, the audit showed 54.55% of compliance before redesign. And this gives us a clear and objective baseline. Based on this audit, we simplified content, architecture, technical stacks, rationalizing content, reducing unnecessary components, rethinking the content lifecycle. Okay. On the technical side, we optimized the Drupal stack, but we can speak about this after because it's finished. But we are proud to say that we are now 60% compliance for ecology.gov.fr. So you have to measure make engineering, teamwork, and continuous improvement for this result. Très rapide.
Yeah, you can all these key figures. We'll talk. Come to us if you want to have key figures and what we did and KPIs. And two things to remember as key takeaways. First one being coordination is key, and second one being because politics are chaotic, always be prepared to scale. So have products on the shelf and build starter kits recipes. And last thing, it has changed our way of working with Drupal, especially in the front end, because we adopted UI Suite and UI Pattern. So thank you very much. Sorry for the 1 minute, Nico.